I'm Cory Savage, President and CEO of Savage Solutions, a local boutique marketing agency in the Third Ward, specialize in brand and social and digital, and we're celebrating our 15-year anniversary this month. So we're very excited about where we've been, but we're more excited about where we're going as a business. We got involved in a really interesting conversation with some of the folks at Scale Up last week about mission, vision, and values. And I think that the traditional methodology for all of those is changing, literally changing as we sit here today. And we decided in 2019 to really flip that script. And what we did is, for the first time in the history of the organization, I stepped away from the strategic driver and I put the strategic direction in the hands of a very small group of potential leaders and said, I want you guys to go off and I want you guys to tell me what you want this company to be. Because for the last 14 years, it's been me telling you what this company stood for and what our mission was and how we wanted to be the best company to work for in Milwaukee and how we had these 6 things we believe in. Well, I realized those are all for me. And what I did and what came back were mind-blowing to me. We actually have something that we believe in now. And why that's so important is your mission is really going to drive your retention, especially with a really tough and volatile job market. It's going to drive the enthusiasm, which ultimately leads to some of the greatest work that you can have. And the neatest thing for me is that core values, for the most part, have always ended in these T's: integrity, efficiency, consistency, honesty, and they all end in T. And I think a lot of organizations use a lot of the same words. As ours came back as statements rather than just words. And reiterating them, that brave creative is something we believe in. Do incredible work always is something that we do. And choose positivity is needed now more than ever, is how we live our lives through the lens of Savage. And it's important for everybody there, whether they're a new employer or somebody who's been there for a long time, to believe in those or they won't be a fit. And sometimes you have to look at that from a cultural build more so than just a statement on the wall. And I think that this is the first time in history, I mean, within the last 60 days, where I believe we've been able to apply this to brands. So last year, we came up with this thing called brand architecture. And it's a term used in the industry, but brand architecture really sets the foundation for a brand. It's how do you sound? What are your core values? What is a mission statement? How do you apply all that? These are words you use to accomplish it. These are words you don't use to accomplish it. Visually, how do you represent that? And it was a big risk for us to introduce a new service, but we had the talent to do so. And we've done about 7 or 8 brand architectures in the last 6 months with billion-dollar companies all the way down to single entrepreneur companies. And it sets the foundation of what you want to be. And if you don't have that, and why it's important to revisit that as a company is, what's the point? We do the same kind of work that a lot of other people do, but it should be about how you do it and why you do it and what you stand for that separates you from a point of differentiation. So it's extremely important, in my opinion, to consistently look at what your mission and vision are. I don't think people really need a definition of what it is. And there's so many different definitions of what mission and vision are and what your values are. But I say flip the script. Don't follow a playbook. Because if you follow a playbook, you're going to end up with all those T's again. You're going to have the integrity and you're going to have all these words that might not mean much to you. So yeah, it's something that I think a lot of organizations just need to continuously visit to see if it has purpose. A lot has happened literally in the last week across the nation. And in preparing for this narrative, I think that now more than ever, it's important for people to understand that not only the business environment, but the world environment is going to change, and how you operate in that environment is so important. We're finding that we're 60% more productive working from home. The only reason that I'm not worried about our values and what we stand for is because we built this team that now knows how to work together. But as an organization, how are you going to onboard people in this virtual world? How are you going to get your core values to be believable in this online world and have something to stand for? And for us, that was when COVID hit. It was a slap across the face. I was in Boston, and all of a sudden we saw people walking around in the airport with masks, and didn't really take it seriously. And then once we found out what it actually was, I mean, we literally started working from home probably before a lot of other people. And it was something that just changed everything. Like our business changed right in front of us. And I'm very comfortable saying our business development pipeline, which was at the largest it had ever been, we had the best year going we ever had, literally evaporated. And it was everybody just pressed pause and everybody just kind of said, go away. So for us, it is, how do you manage culture, values, and mission virtually? And that's something that I think that a lot of people are giving advice on it. And I'm not sure, I'm not one that follows other people's advice, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm saying how you do that is going to be an interesting thing, the way that, in terms of the way that the world's moving forward. I mean, you got these big brands, Twitter, Facebook, Google, all working from home for the rest of the year. I bet you forever. And it's this new environment. So how do you, I hate when people say take advantage of it, because that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it a reality for us. And it's been really interesting how good we can be behind screens like we are now. It's how you can conduct business as is. I actually think it's kind of neat that I've gotten to meet a lot of my employees' families, purposely and not purposely. I know everybody's dog. But we have an employee who got to celebrate his son's first birthday. He's been home with him for the last month and a half, and yesterday was his first birthday. He wouldn't have been able to do that. He got to spend the day with his 1-year-old. So I'm a big family values guy, and I've built Savage based on those values. I think that there's a lot that can be good from all this. And I think that building trust with your employees, and it still all ties to the mission and vision and values of your business, is going to be tough for new employees. But having trust with the team that has gotten you to where you got to is, I don't know, it's euphoric for me. It's, our work has been mind-blowing. And I mean, we've helped quote unquote save brands, and we have chief marketing officers tell us we help save brands. We put in 10 days of 24 hours to help save a fast casual food brand. And you know what? It was fun. And it was one of those things where you probably couldn't have done that if we were in a physical business environment, because everybody would have had to drive to work and go home and do a bunch of other stuff. But it was all because we believe in and we support in each other. We truly do live by the values that we've set as an organization. There was a conversation that happened last week just about the old famous elevator pitch and how everybody had to have an elevator pitch. Well, there's no more elevators. So how do you get that quick statement of who you are and why should people engage with you and what you stand for is that's more important now than ever. And I think people are doing more online and digital research than they've ever done on who they're working with, not just a portfolio of work that they present. And for us, that's important. And that's where we think we have a competitive advantage, because how do you explain to somebody via screen what the business is that you work for, or what it is that you do, or how it is that you do that? And we've taken that and kind of led with our core values. It's even down to, we're in an industry where, yeah, we get beat up a lot, and we get a lot of, this needs to be done real fast. Is our choose positivity has saved clients. It's saved employee relationships. It's not an easy thing to do. And I think that that's the challenge when you have really good core values, is you want to live up to them. It's easy to say brave creative, but if you asked 100% of our employee base, they have a definition of what brave creative means. It's not just about leaping outside the box of creativity. It's about being brave and telling a CEO, that is not what I would do, which we just did in a meeting before this video. That's very hard, but we base it on these core values. And I think that as we move forward, how you represent yourself as a brand is going to be so different. You're not going to have the ability to, I don't even know if people are going to shake hands anymore. It's just, how do you come across an environment as authentic? How do you present yourself where a lot of people are afraid of screens and afraid of cameras? How do you do all that? That's where we're focusing our growth on, is as a communication firm that really builds messaging, is what's our own message. So over the last several weeks, we've rebuilt our brand architecture, and it's completely different than we were, let's say, from 2018. And we did it because we felt like we had to do it. We felt like we need to understand who we are in this new world. And then what's happened in the last 5 days too is, when you talk about messaging, like, what do you put out there? Like, what is authentic? And we decided that we weren't going to just do what everybody else did. And we talked as a company, even as early as this morning, of what is it that you guys want to do? And there was an employee who said, let's do nothing. And I said, well, that's okay. You could do that too. But we just decided to actually post our core value of be kind and choose positivity. Literally, it's not in any color. It's not in any other message. It's not a hashtag of somebody else's. That's just what we believe in. And I'm a true believer that without those core values and the mission that our company wants to be different internally before we are externally, I don't think you could be happier as a boss than I was this morning. Things we've been really pushing on our clients is this whole thoughtfulness and authenticity in their messaging. And I think that that's really important because in our world, you see the copycat syndrome. You see a brand doing something and you're like, we should probably do that. And then you end up doing it almost verbatim, word for word. But you need to have thoughtfulness and you need to have a quote unquote stance on why that is so important to you as a brand. And for us, it's a matter of sometimes pushing them completely out of their comfort zone of, yes, you can't just sound corporate jargon. You have to say that this is a message that we're going to do it. And a lot of brands have people to do that for them. I mean, that's why we get hired a lot is to build those messaging platforms. But I think that being authentic is going to cut you right through the crap. I think that people can read crap, they understand crap, and they know when crap's being thrown at them. Is if you can cut through that with authentic messaging, and that's the key. It has to be authentic. If you're just going to put it out there and you think you're being thoughtful, you're being careless. Is it needs to be your own, and you need to understand your voice. I think that Coca-Cola is going to say it different than Microsoft's going to say it. Like you have to have it in your voice. And we've also, with our local clients too, is there's a voice of Milwaukee. We're a little bit different here, and how you apply that is it's really important that you're not just connected to P&L. You're really connected to the community, and you're connected to your employees, and you're connected to your families, you're connected to all this other kind of stuff too. So put deep thought into it and don't just settle. That's one of the hardest things is don't make this a checkbox exercise. Don't rewrite your story online because somebody told you need to and say, okay, we're done with that. Like, actually do it and be proud of what you put out there. We just literally rewrote the story of Savage this morning because we're different today than we were before. And we want to make a difference. And we're trying to accomplish this 10 acts of kindness during probably the worst time in my life I've ever been through, just because you have a choice. You have a choice to let it affect you, or you have the opportunity and choice to actually make a difference in people's lives. So we're at 7. We're looking for 3 more. But it's one of those things where I think brands are going to struggle trying to move from selling to being a place people want to buy. And I think that that's something that we focus on with our clients too, is stop selling and give people a reason to buy from you. Even if it's a commodity driven product, like give them a reason to buy from you. A lot of people just don't know where to start. And but without sounding like a solicitation, hire somebody. The best way you can get your message across is build it internally and validate it externally. The first time we branded Savage, we actually hired our friends in Minneapolis to come and do it because we were too tied to it. And we're the hardest kind of firm to brand, but hire a third party, whether that's a communication specialist, a PR firm, a marketing firm like ours, is they're going to put you through a lot of them called discovery processes. And they're going to ask the hard questions. Not just like, what do you do and why do you do it? It's like, what do you stand for? And what the professionals will do, and what we do too, is we actually almost give you the play-by-play playbook. That was a lot of plays on how to actually write what it is that you want to say. And not everybody's good at that. We're fortunate that we have the talent to do that, but it's important. Do you write in third person, or do you write in first person, or do you say we versus I? And we live by the we is stronger than I every time. Is how you portray yourself that's what your brand is. That's the emotional connection someone's gonna have with you. So it's important, and to all of you leaders out there too, do it. Don't put this on a to-do list and say, we'll get to this at some point. Now is the time to do it. And the reason being is we are going to be in a different business environment. We're going to be in a different cultural environment. We're going to be in a different social environment. It's all going to be different. So really figure out what it is that you want to do. I'm using it as an opportunity to continuously get a new compass. And for the first time as CEO in 15 years, I really feel like we've nailed it. Where I I see the succession. I see these leaders being brought to the table. I see this group coming together where our creative director says, I'm more connected to you guys than I ever was in the office. Sometimes an office can be an adult playland. And we really are encouraging our brands to take brand architecture extremely seriously. Yeah, it's an important step in the process of your brand evolution. I'd like to say thank you to Elmer and Mallory for bringing me to the table on this. It's something that I normally don't do. I am not one that's out in the public. I am not one that does videos. This is something I'm super passionate about, but I'm also really passionate about Milwaukee. And Mallory and Elmer have done a great job of figuring out ways to, I'm just going to say it, make a difference in the city. So I thank you for doing that. If you're ever interested in just talking about it, we don't charge to talk. You can go to our website, just look us up on Google. The contact form will go directly to my email. We are a small company. If this is something that you just want advice on, I would love to talk to you. And right now, talking to more and more people leads to some just incredible conversations, probably not about marketing. So if you're in need of anything at all, get a hold of me. But just remember, this is something I highly encourage a lot of brands to do. It doesn't matter if you're in manufacturing, if you're in medical, if you're in sales or retail, is really understand who you are and watch your P&L grow. It's just a difference. It makes the biggest difference if you know who you are, where you're going, and you can build the path to get there. So we're a big believer in this. We've seen it work for brands. We've seen incredible ROI from understanding who you are. So once again, thank you. And Savage Solutions.